reading my mind like an old page. Dog-eared dreams in the old days. We'll be fine if the song plays, and even in the quiet I am savoring our time like a soul flavor, paying no mind like an old sage. Nothing too high, don't run away, even in the times when I am lost. Cost me my life, of course, all worth it, baby. Someday I'll be held by you again. Until then.
Well, I started working when I was 11 years old. And because I couldn't have money otherwise. My family didn't have money. I never had money to spend. I had to go earn money. So that was a pretty simple thing for me to figure out that I have to do that. So that part of that first arc, I've pretty much always been able to be on that arc in a meaningful way. That is to say, I could make a livelihood and so on. But after I got married, I had 4 children. And so I wound up with the responsibility to feed, clothe, try to nourish, protect, and enhance 4 children. Failed miserably at it. My kids can tell you, but I took the job on, and it was at that time that I also was realizing that studying mythology and poetry wasn't a hobby. It was something I needed.
You better pull over when she says go slow, because you won't know until you grow old. And even then the things might change, yeah. So never showboat unless you want more. Death in your life, boy, we call her Killjoy, Miss Hurricane, yeah. I stopped on green at the guy light. Was a moth, was a fiend for the bonfire. Like to think that I learned from the burns, but truth is I keep second guessing, pulling U-turns. And even through red eyes when red drives, still can't read the signs and see the semis. It's looking like this might not end well unless I find rope and bucket for my soul well. Haruki Murakami, no Nobel, no one to hear me in the dark of my own hell. Oh well.
So people are used to asking, what is the meaning of life? And most of the answers try to answer in the abstract or the general, when the meaning of life really turns out to be the meaning of individual life. Therefore, the question is not what is the meaning of life? The question is what is the meaning of your life? And in terms of finding the meaning of one's life, it's really a revelation of what's already been written on the walls of their own soul. And life is the struggles we get into that force a revelation of what we're already carrying within. And once a person finds that road that opens up in a revelatory way and begins to understand what is being spoken in their soul as they breathe, then you run into the meaningful ideas, one of which is that knowledge is streaming into this world constantly, moment after moment. And the issue isn't a lack of knowledge. The issue is finding ways to slow the stream of knowledge down long enough that we can actually imbibe it and digest it and integrate it and become, in that way, knowing.
What's this new head that I fell inside? They selling train tickets for the body ride. Over the bridge I'm coming back, but I got some beeswax on the other side. Sex, food, drink, they incentivize till survival ain't enough, soul jeopardizing. I wish that I could lose and just let it die, but I'm too strong to move on. All these telephones and pictures could never capture what it takes when getting out of bed is different. With every step the earth quakes.
To me, all stories are embodiments. If the story can't be embodied, then it hasn't yet become fully a story. People are really, in the end, a story, a plot line that has been delivered into the world at their birth. And a person's life is the unfolding of the inner plot line and the learning of what story is trying to live through us. So if I imagine the story as something living, then I imagine it as living through a person, and therefore the stories that are worthwhile are the embodied stories, the stories that unfold from within people.
It's a journey, yeah. It's a journey. It's a journey. Bootleg enlightenment I found in your snakeskin suitcase. Go round. She wants more. I'm overboard now. Baby, drown, drown, drown. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey. Outside they wait paths upside down. Vampires selling sunscreen to clowns. And I'm the one with red nose. Now watch these metal horses go round. She waits for me in her mind.
In alchemy, they have a term, circulatio, which means to descend to the depths as far as you can go and drink from those deep waters and learn the knowledge in the darkness, and then to ascend as high as you can go to feel the elevation and the spirit of ascension, and take in from that as much light as you can. And life is made not of simply ascending, but actually descending in order to follow it by ascending. And the nature of life, and especially the nature of the soul, is never direct and it's never simply still. It's always following the course of life, which is like a river that bends and turns and eddies and then flows and touches the rocks, but also accepts the feet of the ducks and everything as it goes along the way. And so there are old teachings that say we are here to go as deep as we can go, to rise as high as we can go, and to inhabit the spaces in between with as much grace and as much creativity and as much humility as we can.
Factory settings, can you imagine just how I used to be before the world got inside of me? Pain still weighs on my soul. Brain still feels like a black hole. Why am I laughing at the wrong moments when they say to cry? I don't mind. Is this wise or am I hiding? To not choose sides. Yo, Kevin's colorblind, so he can't see the difference between envy, red, and green money. Fault lines ain't my fault. The earth has a mind of her own, and I'm just trying to be me. Is that a crime? I guess it is. Outside the lines, as we scribble crayons in the diamonds, that's what we thought. Still trying, not even seeing the colors that's flying. Way too focused on what we think we need. Too many songs, man, I think we peaked. Despite endorphins, Robert Johnson, a devil pact. Let's agree to grieve and let it go so we can be fools again with empty crosses, laughing in that hearse so hard it hurts. We made it without accomplishing shit.
You know, when I was young, I was afraid of everything in certain ways. Um, what am I trying to say? Um, I felt so many places of vulnerability and so many ways in which I felt I didn't belong or couldn't measure up. And that maybe in a way that's never left me. I don't know. In other words, the idea isn't that a person becomes a perfect example of things, it's that a person becomes a specific presentation of their individual life. And that includes vulnerabilities and fault lines as much as it does brilliances and talents.
Please, I don't know. These eyes won't cry no more. Please show me how to flow again. I've been looking for my face again. Oh, 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 in someone else's mirror. In the distance on my way to them. Oh, 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 will myself disappear? If Kevin's guitar cries, I can save my breath for a little while. And maybe sneak a smile in between all these wild lows. If Kevin's guitar cries, I can save my breath for a little while. And maybe find rest beside this winding road.
There's an old notion of having two kinds of tears. Children cry readily, and they cry the tears of children. When we grow out of childhood, we're supposed to find the next level of tears. And those tears can be the tears of joy, in fact. But more often they're the tears of sorrow and grief. And those tears are not the tears of a child. The tears of a child, you can hold them and they'll stop crying. You can ease the pain they're feeling or the fear they're feeling. In the adult, it's different. The tears are there to do something. And one of the old sayings is that sorrow is a river and grief is an ocean. And both of them are there to wash through us and wash out anything that is not alive.
Why do I continue questioning your motion? Shotgun, I keep on asking where we going. You smile and just tell me to be patient, boy, yeah. I fiddle with the radio, 'cause the perfect song might save my soul. I know it isn't safe on land. I know I must be brave and swim. Oh, oh, harder they come, harder they fall, he said. But Medusa never combed her head. Little birdie trying to sing for bread, while them big dogs growl. Hollywood glitch, probably ghost. Took it as a sign it's time to get going. Sold in the mic, but Micah looked golden. Little did I know the whole thing was wrong. Stolen, cards folding, not playing. My heart won't let me. So before my body break down, throw my crown in the ocean.
Well, the idea that I like is a notion of there being two agreements. And that the soul, when it first comes towards being born, on the way to being born, makes an agreement with the divine. The soul is leaving the divine world, the eternal world, and is about to enter the world of time and space. And but the soul is essentially connected to the divine world. That's the nature of the soul. And so the soul, the individual human soul, the part of the soul that's going to be that person, makes an agreement before it's born to live a certain life. And that's what's meant by the calling. A person has a calling, and the calling is to something that exists inside them from before they're born, that they came to life to awaken to and then to give and deliver to life.
Paper-covered bones, living out a story. Wish that you would close your eyes and read it for me. Tarot and smoke, Cassandra was crying, where's my peace? Belly full of hope, with UFO inside her. Tell the jailer joke, it's sure to keep him quiet. Fell off the boat, now Jonah is lighting flames down deep. Now tell me what you see, baby. What's the point of all this creating? How can me and me mean I need saving? From who, if you is just a me chasing? myself in circles like a fiend racing. Back in detox, I had to be cautious of the gravity of thinking, advertising my coffin. Not trying to be a premature zombie, it's exhausting. This reincarnation, contagious pain to my offspring. Enough. Wake up. You're okay.
Well, I like the idea of the two arcs of life. And so the first arc is the arc of growing up. And it begins in the womb. Not as a child in the womb, for people living in Alabama. Not in the as I won't go. Anyway,
You can go anywhere.
Anyway, that's a whole different story. But and so anyway, it starts in the womb, which is the place where the most rapid and extensive growth occurs in the womb. But it continues as the child grows, and then you grow up, and then you have to step into the world. And the idea there is to learn to face the world to stand in the world, and establish oneself in the world in some way, or at least to give it a try. Because to the soul, succeeding and failing both have their limits and both have their blessings. And so it's not a matter of succeeding, it's a matter of succeeding and failing and continuing to find the ground of one's own being. But still, that first arc is necessary. One of the problems with the modern world is they think it's the only arc.